Maya Daniels collapsed to the marble floor of the Westbrook Holiday Charity Gala, her champagne glass shattering beside her as gasps erupted across the ballroom. Ethan Westbrook, who had signed their divorce papers just that morning, pushed through the crowd with panic etched on his face. When the paramedics cut away her designer gown to attach monitors, the secret she'd kept for 6 months was exposed to everyone, especially to the ex-husband who had walked away believing she'd betrayed him. Her perfectly concealed baby bump was now visible to all, and the monitor picked up not one, but 2 distinct heartbeats. Twins? Ethan whispered, his face draining of color as he stared at the woman he thought he knew everything about. "How could you keep this from me, Maya?" His voice cracked with emotion as the paramedics rushed to stabilize her falling blood pressure. The documents finalizing their split were still warm from the printer, the ink barely dry on the signature line. Everything he thought was settled had just exploded into chaos. If he lost her now, if he lost them all, the empire he'd built would mean nothing. Maya's eyes fluttered open, her deep brown irises locking with his steel blue ones. "I tried to tell you," she whispered, her normally strong voice fragile. "The day Victor showed you those photos, the day you refused to hear my side." Blood began to seep through her gown, and terror seized Ethan's heart. The paramedics shouted medical terms that translated to only one clear message in Ethan's mind: Maya and their unborn children might not survive the night. The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and desperate prayers. Ethan clutched Maya's hand, remembering how they'd met 3 years ago. She was the brilliant architect hired to design his company's new headquarters, challenging his every decision with a sharp wit that matched his own. Their marriage had been a whirlwind of passion and promise until Victor Hargrove, Ethan's oldest rival, had presented photographs suggesting Maya was selling company secrets. Now, watching her fight for life, Ethan wondered what else he had refused to see. "Her placenta is separating," the doctor explained in the hospital corridor. "We need to perform emergency surgery, but there's a complication." She lowered her voice. "Mr. Westbrook, we may not be able to save both babies. And Maya's condition is critical. You may have to make a choice no parent should face." The words hit Ethan like physical blows. Just hours ago, he'd been a divorce, free from the woman he believed had used him for his wealth and connections. Now he was potentially a father facing an impossible decision. As they wheeled Maya toward the operating room, she gripped his hand with surprising strength. "Promise me," she rasped, "promise you'll protect our daughters no matter what Victor tries next." The flash drive, in my apartment, behind the Modigliani. Then her eyes rolled back, and the medical team pushed Ethan away as they rushed through the swinging doors. Left alone in the sterile hallway, Ethan's mind raced. What flash drive? What did Victor have to do with their babies? The Modigliani painting had been his wedding gift to Maya, a piece she'd admired since her art school days but could never afford. Suddenly, the divorce, the allegations, the timing, none of it made sense. Victor had been manipulating them both, but why? 6 hours later, Ethan paced the hospital waiting room, his designer suit rumpled, his thoughts a storm of questions. The flash drive retrieved from Maya's apartment had contained surveillance footage of Victor doctoring the photos that had destroyed their marriage, alongside financial records showing Victor's attempt to sabotage Westbrook Enterprises through Maya's architectural plans. But most damning was the audio recording of Victor threatening Maya when she tried to tell Ethan about her pregnancy. "Mr. Westbrook?" The surgeon appeared, removing her mask. "Your wife is stable. And both your daughters have survived, though they're premature and will need to remain in the NICU." Relief flooded through him, but one word caught in his mind. "My wife? We signed divorce papers this morning." The surgeon checked her chart. "According to her records, the papers haven't been filed yet. Technically, you're still married." A clerical delay. The one time his lawyer's procrastination had worked in his favor. Ethan sank into a chair, overwhelmed. They were still married. He was a father. And everything he believed about Maya's betrayal was a lie. When he finally entered Maya's recovery room, she lay pale against the white sheets, but her eyes held the same determination he'd fallen in love with. "You found it," she said, noticing the flash drive in his hand. "Why didn't you tell me about Victor's threats? About the babies?" The anger in his voice couldn't mask the pain. Maya's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I tried, Ethan. The day I discovered I was pregnant, I came to your office to tell you. That's when Victor intercepted me, showed me the doctored photos he planned to give you. He said if I didn't leave quietly, he'd make sure you lost everything." She took a shaky breath. "I thought I could protect you and our babies by walking away." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I would have believed you over him." "Would you? You've known him since childhood. I was just the woman who appeared in your life 2 years ago." The hurt in her voice cut deep. Before Ethan could respond, his phone buzzed with an alert. The hospital's security system had been breached. Someone had accessed the maternity ward using falsified credentials. The same moment, a nurse rushed in. "Mr. Westbrook, there's a problem in the NICU. Someone tried to enter the secure area where your daughters are." Ethan's blood turned to ice. "Victor," he growled, already moving toward the door. "Maya, stay here. I'll handle this." "No." Maya struggled to sit up, wincing in pain. "You don't understand. Victor doesn't just want your company, he wants our babies. His wife can't have children, and he's obsessed with having heirs for the Hargrove legacy. When he found out I was carrying Westbrook heirs." Her voice broke. "That's why I've been hiding, changing apartments every month." The revelation staggered Ethan. This wasn't just corporate espionage, it was something far more sinister. He'd known Victor was competitive, but this level of obsession was pathological. As hospital security alarms began blaring, Ethan made a split-second decision and helped Maya into a wheelchair despite her surgical wounds. "We're getting our daughters out of here," he said, his voice leaving no room for argument as they rushed toward the NICU. They arrived to find 2 security guards unconscious and the nursery door ajar. Inside, Victor stood over one of the incubators, a small bundle already in his arms. His normally impeccable appearance was disheveled, his eyes wild with a desperation Ethan had never seen before. "You always had everything handed to you, Westbrook," Victor snarled. "The company should have been mine. These children should have been mine." Ethan stepped in front of Maya's wheelchair. "Put my daughter down, Victor. It's over. I have the evidence of everything you've done, the doctored photos, the threats, the corporate sabotage. The police are already on their way." Victor's face contorted. "You think I care about jail? About reputation? My bloodline ends with me unless." He looked down at the tiny infant in his arms with an expression that chilled Ethan to the core. Maya wheeled herself forward despite Ethan's protective arm. "Victor, please," she said softly. "That's Sophia you're holding. Her sister Olivia needs her. Twins share a bond, they shouldn't be separated." Something in Maya's words seemed to reach a still human part of Victor. His hands trembled as he looked down at the tiny face wrapped in the pink blanket. In that moment of hesitation, Ethan lunged forward, carefully extracting his daughter from Victor's arms while hospital security burst through the door. As Victor was restrained, the rage in his eyes gave way to something almost like relief, as though some part of him had wanted to be stopped all along. 6 months later, Ethan stood in the nursery of their renovated home, watching Maya rock their daughters to sleep. Both babies had their mother's beautiful brown skin and his blue eyes, an enchanting combination that never failed to take his breath away. The charges against Victor had ensured he would spend decades in prison, and the revelation of his crimes had actually strengthened Westbrook Enterprises as clients rallied around the family's story of perseverance. "I still can't believe we almost lost this," Ethan said softly, joining Maya on the window seat. "I'm sorry I didn't trust you." Maya leaned against him, her silky hair cascading over his arm. "We both made mistakes. I should have fought harder to make you listen. Her fierce intelligence shone in her eyes as she added, but I won't make that mistake again. The next time someone tries to come between us, they'll have to deal with both of us. Ethan smiled, his fingers intertwining with hers. The Westbrook twins are going to be formidable women with you as their mother. And with you as their father, Maya added with a playful nudge that reminded him of their early courtship. Though heaven helped their future suitors with a protective billionaire father vetting their prospects. Ethan laughed, then grew serious. You know, when I thought I might lose you, lose all three of you, I realized something. All the wealth, the company, the status, none of it matters without family. Without love. Maya's eyes softened. Is that why you've been spending less time at the office? It's why I'm restructuring the entire company. Life's too short and too precious to waste on things that don't truly matter. He kissed her forehead. I almost lost everything that night on Christmas Eve. I won't make that mistake again. As snow fell gently outside their window, creating a perfect Christmas card scene, Ethan watched his family with a full heart. From nearly losing everything to gaining a family he never knew he needed, his journey reminded him that second chances were the greatest gift of all. If you found this story of redemption, love, and family moving, please subscribe this channel and share it with others who might need a reminder that it's never too late for a second chance. Every like and share helps spread stories of hope to those who need them most this holiday season.